What's up, friends? You got Gypsy back here today with Season 6 of the NPL Week 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed your Christmas or your holiday celebrations, whatever you guys want to call it, whatever you're celebrating. Hope it's been good. I've had a pretty great time with my family, been eating way too much food and drinking way too much wine and champagne. So I'm ready to jump back into draft. It's been a little bit of a break. We had obviously the commencement of Gen 7, so we're in this new Gen 7 league in the NPL. Well, not in a new gen, I should say. It's our league. We made this league our bitch last season, but we are back, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting season for sure. As I said in my draft analysis, we've got a ton of new competition and a ton of threatening teams. I hope you guys have all gone and checked out the respective teams of all the other coaches in the league. I definitely recommend, if you haven't, to go and watch everyone's draft analysis. Very fun, no doubt. But for week 1, we are up against my boy Togevoir. He was in our division last season in the NPL, so we faced him 3 times, 2 in the regular season and then once in the semi-finals, or the playoffs, I should say. A very good player and an even better builder, I'd say. He's very creative with his building. He loves his berries. He's known as the Berry King, and he's drafted easily one of the best teams, in my opinion. It's very fat. He has a repulsive Mega Venusaur Clefable Bronzong core, which is very nice defensively, but yeah, absolutely disgusting to prep for, as well as some nice powerhouses in Weavile and Thunderous. Not to mention stuff like Gothitelle to trap passive mons who may try and outbulk his bulk, so to speak, as well as just providing a really nasty trapper that all teams appreciate. He also has the likes of Haxorus on his team as a pretty powerful Z-mon, so definitely a threatening mon. If you guys have watched my draft analysis, you'll notice that it's a very offensive team. It's nowhere near as good a team as I drafted last season in regards to balanced synergy, but it's a very nice offensive team. And definitely looking to have some fun with it. But up against Toge's team, it has a very bad matchup. We have stuff like Gothitelle being able to trap, stuff like my Keldeo, even stuff like my Uxie and my Empoleon. Haxorus is a massive threat. If it gets a DD up, it can put in a ton of work versus my team. Minior is a bit of a pain, as the Shell Smashing variant could prove to be a pretty threatening late game sweeper. And then you've got Clef, which every team must prep for, otherwise you're going to get destroyed by just fat, calm mind, repulsive Clef. And obviously you have Mega Venusaur, the fat mon that never dies. And Weavile, a very powerful mon. It was the MVP of last season's NPL. We had it on my squad, and it just put in work. So Weavile's going to put in work regardless of whose team it's on, and Toge will no doubt use that well. I was not expecting Toge to bring Weavile this match, purely because I have stuff like Infernape, Golisopod, Keldeo, all of which destroy Weavile in a 1v1 scenario. I have pretty good priority in the form of E-Speed Dragonite. Lure Uxie, stuff like that. Empoleon takes it on. Zapdos can live a hit if I need to, if I EV it correctly. It's forced to run like Band if it wants to kill like a fat guard or something like that. So yeah, definitely interested to see it. But it does have a decent matchup versus most of my team, barring the 3 main checks. So I can understand why he brought it. But yeah, still surprising nonetheless. But just looking at the team he's brought today, you can see he's got the Thundy. No reason not for him to bring Thundy. My team's ground resist is, my team's electric resist is Dugtrio currently, immunity I should say. So yeah, Dugtrio matches up very badly against Toge's team. So Thundy made a lot of sense in that regard. And you guys can see he's brought the Minior, the Mega Venusaur. Obviously, he had no reason not to bring Mega Venusaur, as it was everything in the game bar like Hooper, really. And then you have the Tentacle as some sort of a defensive check to Infernape, and obviously Bronzong as some sort of a switch into Mega Guard. Bronzong is really solid actually versus my team. It's quite nice. So looking at just assessing his team, I noticed that his likely lead will either be Thundy or Bronzong. Thundy to gain momentum with Volt Switch, as I do not have an electric immunity, or Bronzong to set up rocks off the bat, which does severely hinder Dragonite's longevity. It definitely pressures Golisopod and puts guard in range of stuff like Icicle Crash from Lightfall Weavile. So Stealth Rocks are definitely nice, and he does have his own Tentacle to get rid of hazards in case I do want to lead my own hazards, but I'm more than happy with whittling down his Tentacruel. If I need to 1v1 it with my Uxie, I'm more than happy to do that. So I am going to lead off with Uxie, expecting him to lead off with either Thunderous or his Bronzong, as he does lead off with Thunderous. Now, my Uxie is a pretty specially defensive spread with enough defense to leave a Life Orb knockoff from Jolly Weavile, so and it's a roll to take from Adamant Weavile, but I did need the Spidef to take on like a nasty plot variant of Thundy, which is pretty probable because I do have a lot of base 100s and he does outspeed by 1 base point, so a nasty plot variant with Sludge Wave and T-Bolt HP Ice could be pretty threatening to my team. So I had to pack the Spidef on this set just so I could get a hit off and pivot out into my Band Dragonite to E-speed it, or my Infernape to outspeed and take him out with Flare Blitz. So turn 1 I am going to go for the Stealth Rocks as he vaults out and goes right out into his Bronzong. Now this is fine, I am just going to U-turn this next turn out into my Golisopod, knowing that he's either going to Toxic or set up Stealth Rocks or something like that, perhaps even Trick, but I didn't think he would Trick this turn. I felt as though he would just get up his rocks. So this turn I am going to go for the first impression. The reason I go for the first impression here is because I lose absolutely nothing by it. Nothing on his team wants to take it. Tentacruel is a resist, but depending on the set, it would have taken a chunk, meaning that it's like its purpose in checking Nape, which I feel as though is its reason on the team, is severely hindered. So he does make the play by going out into his Venusaur to take 66% from the first impression. Now right here I know he's going to heal up because Venusaur, that's just what it does, it just sits here and heals up and is fat and just hits stuff with Sludge Bomb. So I knew he was going to heal up this turn, so I go out to my guard to Mega Evolve and threaten it out the next turn, keeping him at a low amount of health, not a low amount of health, but stopping him from healing up to full. So you guys are going to see he heals up with, since his guess is 72, so he's going to obviously switch out this turn, not wanting to, like he could play Mind Games here and stay in, predict me to Shadow Ball or Willow his incoming Bronzong, but it's in his best interest to keep Venusaur. Like Toad's not going to play that recklessly this early on, he has no reason to, when he does have a pretty safe switch into guard in the form of his Bronzong here. So at least forcing this Venusaur out at 72 means he's going to come in at 60%, meaning he's 2-hit KO'd by stuff like Flare Blitz, he's 2-hit KO'd by Air Slash from Life Orb Shaman, he's 2-hit KO'd by my Psychic from Uxie. So just keeping it at that range of health is quite nice. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here, predicting his Bronzong, as it does come in to tank the Psychic, as obviously Max Spidef Bronzong was pretty obvious and pretty good versus me. It would have easily been able to tank a Psychic followed by a Shadow Ball. As you guys can see, Shadow Ball does only 43%, so we do get that right, as we are going to go for the Shadow Ball this turn, take him out. This invites in his Weavile here. Now this turn I felt as though sacking off Shaman to determine his Weavile set was key here, because if I can determine that he's either a Band variant or a Life Orb variant, I can play accordingly, as I am going to sack off Shaman here just to gain this valuable information. Had I gone into Infernape or Golisopod on his Aerial Ace, if he was like a banded Aerial Ace, it would have been very, very bad. So I just felt as though Shaman was, because he does have this fat Venusaur, as well as a faster Weavile and a Thundy T that's clearly choice locked. Well, to the best of my knowledge, he is choice locked. That may change later on in the match, but at this point in the match, I felt as though he was choice locked, just for speed control versus my team, as Weavile seems to be his only check to a boosting Dragonite, who actually gains access to extreme speed. So a Scarfed Thundy makes a lot of sense. So Shaman was the sack here, as he goes to the Icicle Crash and gets a crit. Now the reason this is extremely unfortunate is because I am EV to be able to live an Adamant non-Life Orb Icicle Crash. So the fact that he hadn't shown Life Orb Recoil means that he's either banned or he's not banned and he got a crit. Now if he hadn't got that crit, if he'd taken me out, he was either Icicle Plate or banned, and without getting that crit, if he wasn't either Life Orb or banned, Shaman would have lived the hit at a very low percent. Obviously he would have died the next turn, but it would have given me crucial information. So pretty unfortunate in that sense, only because it would have given me a bit more information and would have changed the way I played. But I had to bank on the fact that he was either going to be choice locked into Icicle Crash or just scared out by the potential of Mach Punch, as Weavile does a lot to the rest of my team. Definitely, it does quite a lot to the rest of my team. So I'm going to make the U-turn play here, predicting him to want to preserve Weavile, because even if he can spin with like Tentacle here, which I do expect to be his switch into my Infernape, that'll really take the pressure off his Weavile and his Thundy respectively. So I'm going to go for the U-turn here, as he does make the play by switching out to his Tentacle, so we do catch him on that double. And I can just go out into my Mega Guard here and fire for Psychic. Now he actually told me during the match that his Tentacle was actually a max speed variant, so it was a speed tie right there because I'm max speed Timid Guard. So we do win that tie, which is pretty nice. But yeah, our luck is going to go downhill from here, you're going to see. So now at this point in the match, his Venusaur is at a range where Outrage kills it. It's a roll for Flare Blitz to kill, I believe. And my thought process at this point in the match was, whilst keeping Guard around the Venusaur would be nice, I do have multiple ways of beating it without Guard. And if his Weavile is a banned set, because as I said, that earlier crit on Shaman meant that I had to bank on the fact that he was banned, because I couldn't determine his item based on the crit, due to the crit, sorry. So at this point I felt as though he could be banned Pursuit, which would make a lot of sense, versus a Fleeing Guard, as Guard does do quite nicely, deal quite nicely with his team. So clicking Pursuit here, kicking the aggressive ban Pursuit would make a lot of sense. But that was not something I could. That was not something I wanted to risk. He was either going to take me out here with Icicle Crash, or he was going to Pursuit. And I was fine with letting Guard die here. But at least if I fired off a Hyper Voice as he pursued, which I felt he was banned. So if I fired off a Hyper Voice, I would live the Pursuit and be able to kill off the Weavile. But he just fires off the Icicle Crash here, and that takes me out. Further reinforcing the fact that I think he's banned. He actually turns out to be Icicle Plate after the match. So that wasn't like, it wasn't banned, it was Icicle Crash, but that damage is obviously is also the same as obviously banned. Weavile takes out Guard at that range of health, as does Icicle Plate. So in my head I still thought he was banned, or some ice boosting variant, as he hadn't shown Life Orb. So now I'm going to go into my Golisopod and just fire for First Impression. Nothing wants to take a combination of First Impression plus Aqua Jet. It would kill Thundy, it would kill Minior, and it had a chance to kill this Venusaur. No, First Impression at this range of health did not have a chance to kill Venusaur plus Aqua Jet, but you guys are going to see. You guys are going to see about that as we go. So now I'm going to go into my Uxie, knowing that I can at least chip down this Venusaur to put it in range of my Dragonite's Outrage or my Infernape's Flare Blitz. So I'm going to fire for Psychic here, and he's very specially defensive. That only does 31%. Keep in mind I'm not actually invested in special attack, so it's doing a decent amount. But you know, Mega Venusaur does not care about super effective hits. This thing is way too fat. So he goes for the Leech Seed here. So he's going to be getting back quite a decent amount of health each turn. I'm going to be losing 6% with a combination of Leech Seed minus Lefties. So my Uxie is still going to be, it's not going to be too whittled. I am going to be able to get a few Psychics off, potentially get a Spadef drop, leaving Venusaur at a lower range of health. I do 35% with that, as he gets the poison on the Sludge Bomb, which is very unfortunate, because now it puts me in a situation where he can just start spamming Synthesis and limit my chances to really get a crit or get a Spadef drop, or even put him in a range of health when Uxie dies, where he's forced a Sludge Bomb, where my Banded Dragonite can actually take him out. So it's unfortunate, but it happens. It's 30%, so it's like equivalent of a Skull Burn. It's not like it was bound to happen eventually had he continued spamming Sludge Bomb, but that was a situation that I would have preferred rather than him spamming Synthesis. So I am going to fire off another Psychic, as he does Synthesis up this turn. I get a crit, which does 46%, but you guys are going to see he's getting all the health back with the lefty. So this turn he can comfortably just Synthesis up, tanking my Psychic, and be at full after the Leech Seed recovery. So definitely unfortunate, but it happens. Now in comes Infernape, and I'm just going to click Banded Flare Blitz. It is going to put him in range to go down to Dragonite's Outrage, so that's pretty nice. But had I gone into Dragonite here, it would have invited in his Thunderous to click HP Ice, as I am choice locked into Outrage. And I know that Golisopod has like a 95% chance to take out this Venusaur at this range. The only way he can survive this hit, this Life Orb First Impression from Adamant Max Attack Golisopod, is if I get an absolute min roll. And you guys are gonna see, I actually do get absolute min, and Venusaur is going to survive the hit. So yeah, very unfortunate, but you know, rolls happen in this game that we play. So that's going to force me onto my Dragonite, because I actually have no way of taking on this Venusaur with my Golisopod. It's 4 moves, apart from First Impression, don't actually hit it. It's 3 other moves. So now Dragonite's going to come in and take the Outrage, and fire from Outrage, dealing well over 50%. He's going to reveal the HP Ice. It doesn't take me out because Dragonite's got that bulk, but we're going to lose at this point, because now Thundy's going to come in and eventually just click T-Bolt twice and take home the game. So very unfortunate, but you know, rolls happen. I mean, had Venusaur died there, the end game would have come down to a series of plays. So Golisopod would have been in. He would have either brought in his Thundy and Volt switched out. That would have taken a Volt. That would have taken a Aqua Jet, putting in guaranteed range that would seek to die to an extreme speed. Or he would have gone straight into his Meteor, to which I would have Aqua Jetted the next turn. Died to a Stone Edge or something like that from Meteor. Gone into my Dragonite, E-speeded the Meteor to take it out with the Banded E-speed. And then Thundy would have come in and take it in E-speed. However, he told me his Thundy was EV to actually tank an E-speed after Rocks, so I would have had to rely on a crit at that point. But you know, that was actually more in my favor than a crit would have been more in my favor than getting an absolute min roll with Golisopod. So you know, it's just, that's the funny thing about this game. You can just never tell when something like that is going to happen. But you know, all hats off to my boy Toge. He played well, and no doubt I felt like I had a very bad matchup, but despite that, you know, it was a very fun game, a fun way to start the season, a nice challenge. You know, my first loss in the NPL ever, so that's definitely a nice motivating factor. In hindsight, I could have left my Gardevoir in. Sorry, I could have preserved my guard and had it round for the Venusaur. But you know, I wasn't factoring in getting a min roll on the Venusaur. But had I preserved, you know, guard, I would have had a guaranteed way to take out Venusaur with the Psychic after 2 rock switch-ins. So another thing that was kind of I guess a bit tricky was, had I taken out the Venusaur, my Dragonite set wouldn't have been determined. For all he knew, I could be Yachi Berry with Dragon Dance, which really threatened his team, as his Thundy cannot take me out with T-Bolt due to my bulk investment at 75% after one rock switching, so I would have been able to get a Dragon Dance up. However, he was again EV to take that +1 E-speed, so it would have been an interesting end game, no doubt. But you know, it wasn't meant to be, and you know, Toge came out with a win this time. So that's just how it goes. Very fun game nonetheless. You already know we're going to be bouncing back hard next week. I can assure you of that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Definitely go and check out Toge's side of the match, because I know he'll be uploading the match on his channel. So definitely go and check him out. And if you aren't already subscribed to him, you know, go on and subscribe. Obviously, he just hit 200 subscribers as well. Like, we both hit, I think, 200 subs on the same day, which was mad. So yeah, go and check him out and sub to him if you're not already subbed. And yeah, stick around for more draft content. I've got, you know, we've got week 2 up against Cloud Envy next week, so we're looking to make a statement in that game for sure. So hopefully that all goes well, and I will see you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoyed.